about to play right now the first edition of Stranger Things in sports. And Nathan, we're going to start with you, buddy. Give us something weird from the past week in sports.
Oh man, Ty, you're right. College football is back and something is afoot in the upside down, and it's made its way to Iowa football. But who are we kidding? It's not upside down. This is what Iowa wants. The Iowa-South Dakota State game, 7-3, but no touchdowns.
But Nathan, how did they get to 7 points without a touchdown?
Well, Ty, they got there with a field goal, and then they got a safety, and then they got another safety. I watched a 14-minute highlight reel that was just punts, incomplete passes, and safeties, and sacks. It was quite wild. Both teams, we're talking stats of 120 total yards for the game for South Dakota State, 166 for Iowa, 31 possessions in the game. 31. Do the math on that. That's less than 2 minutes of possession. Right,
that checks out.
Yeah,
checks
less
out.
than 2 minutes of possession, okay? The longest drive that South Dakota State put together was 26 yards. Longest drive they had all game. 26 yards. That was as far as they could go. They averaged 4.4 yards per pass for Iowa, 3.3 yards per pass here. We're talking pass for South Dakota State. Just both quarterbacks under 50% passing. And now, here's the weird thing as well. Not that that's weird enough, but compare this to probably the other big talked about game of the weekend, App State versus UNC, 61-63. Mac Brown taking the soul of another coach, surviving. Again, Mac Brown is back. And that game, just to compare, so we're talking 4.4 yards per pass for Iowa. App State, both of them, App State, UNC, over 6 yards per run, 10 yards per pass. Those teams had 120 and 166 yards, Iowa and South Dakota. In the fourth quarter alone, they had more yardage than either of the teams. They had 483 total yards in just the fourth quarter, which is almost 3 times as much as Iowa had in the whole entire game for just the teams combined. It was 320 yards for App State in the fourth quarter alone, which beats both of the teams' combined yardage for the whole entire game. 166 and 120, that's like 286. So 320 from one team in one quarter. Obviously way more points. I just want to read, these are the last 5 possessions of the game for Iowa and South Dakota State, not counting a kneel down. Iowa, 3 plays, 0 yards. South Dakota State, 2 plays, -8 yards, safety. Iowa, 6 plays, 20 yards, punt. South Dakota, 4 plays, 6 yards, turnover on downs, end of game. Here's the last 5 possessions for App State, UNC. 3 plays, 64 yards, touchdown, Appalachian State. North Carolina, 5 plays, 75 yards, touchdown, North Carolina. App State, 8 plays, 75 yards, touchdown. North Carolina returns an onside kick. Then App State, 2 plays, 48 yards, touchdown. What is happening in college football? It's just strange things are afoot, Ty. And speaking of strange things, I think you've got a story of someone being stuck on their way down or up, was it?
Yeah, so...
But definitely
Nathan,
for a program that's on a downward trajectory.
Nathan, what you gave us was very sportsy. I'm going to give you something a little more fun, let's say. And definitely a little more short-winded.
Sorry, Nathan did his own research, okay? I had to,
too much.
So, obviously, my Stranger Things in sports for the weekend has to come from the Virginia Tech Old Dominion football game. Not the fact that Virginia Tech lost to Old Dominion. That's become commonplace at this point. That's expected. What is unexpected is for the second half of the game to be delayed as a Virginia Tech coach or coaching staff gets stuck in the elevator heading back up to the booth for the half. And on top of that, as if it weren't bad enough, this jank-ass Old Dominion Stadium not only doesn't have working elevators, but they don't have working security either, because the Virginia Tech locker room was burgled in the middle of the game as two people dressed as fake janitors snuck into the locker room and stole a bunch of shit out of the players' lockers.
Wow.
That is a truly strange occurrence.
Do you know if a pee corner was established on the elevator?
They were in there long enough. They might have had time to, but I do not know.
Listen, you know what I don't know? Besides this weird infatuation, this strange infatuation with college football, this subpar, mediocre sport that we'll get into later if you guys want to. I don't know if it's a spoiler or not. Did you guys watch the last episode, the last season of Stranger Things? Yes?
Mm-hmm. I did.
No? Are you going to watch it, Ty?
Probably not. I've never seen it.
Okay, so we're good. It's been out for a while. These aren't spoiler alerts. So one of the biggest talked about things in this season of Stranger Things, right, is the death of a specific character. He was introduced in this season by the name of Eddie Munson, right? He was beloved by all. Mm-hmm. He kind of came across brash and arrogant at first. And you were like, oh no, this guy's just, he needs some love. He's a good guy. And then he dies, right? So I like Eddie, would die instead of listening to you guys talk about college football. Whoa. Okay? Because it's atrocious. Whoa. Let's talk about the real sport, and that's professional American football. And I got something strange for you guys. This is gonna drop. Okay. This is gonna drop on the same day as the season opener. Yes?
Depending if my kids sleep long enough.
Okay, well, if it doesn't, it helps it. So this will be either heard on the day of or the day after, right? So that puts the season opener firmly within this week. So my strange thing for this week involves one of the teams that is taking place in this opening season game, and that is the Buffalo Bills. I find it strange that somehow this bum-ass team is being heralded as the 2023 the 2023 Super Bowl champions, but that's another talk. I find it strange that somehow I'm supposed to believe that this team, Josh Allen, is in his defunct decision making that isn't just throw it to the end zone. Relax. I need a bigger sample size than that, okay? Just like we said about Dan Campbell, you can't clean your underwear once when you shit in them for 50 days and then think all of a sudden they clean. They need to be washed for a lot longer than that. How is it that the Buffalo Bills, this is kind of stats of the day too, my bad. How is it that the Buffalo Bills, the favorite to be the Super Bowl champions of the 2023 season, they haven't had an opening week touchdown by a running back since Mike Tolbert? You heard me, the Tolldozer. How is it that I'm supposed to believe that this team is going to take, don't look, think about it. It hasn't happened. I did the research. I did my own research. It made sense. Mm-hmm. How is it that I'm supposed to believe that this team that doesn't have a running back that either one of us can name off the top of our head, don't look nothing up, Nathan, I see you.
Singletary, Devin Singletary.
You don't count though, you're different.
You were talking to the
You're an outlier. You're an outlier.
Specialist. Devin Singletary made this guy some pretty penny last season when he went on a run, friends. Devin, this is also now turned into a fantasy football update. Still Stranger Things. Get on the Singletary train, folks. I think he's still going to be hot. You can't keep running Josh Allen all that much. And they discovered something. Come on, you can name. I can name. You just got served.
You don't count. I did. And what I will say is, I find it strange that no one outside of Nathan can even name the Buffalo Bills starting running back.
I'm trying so hard to remember his backup right now.
But yet somehow I'm made to believe that this team is going to host the Lombardi at the end of the season. I say this only because, what'd I say?
Toast.
You said burglared. That's not a real word.
Burgled?
Don't tell me what. Yeah, that's the corn chips at the gas station. How are you going to tell me? All I'm saying is to believe this when Mike Tolbert is the last running back to score an opening week touchdown for them as a running back is strange. It's strange. It's strange.
Go get on DraftKings, put money on a Buffalo Bills running back to score.
You faded me?
Do it.
You faded me?
We're doing ourselves a frying.
A frying.
Fading Bryan here, guys. Get on this.
Okay.
Singletary to score.
Well, listen, I'm just finding it strange. That's all.
Full
That's
unit.
all. That's all.
Okay.
G unit.
Okay, so, ladies and gentlemen, we took a lot from that segment there. What we learned. Bryan, I don't think fully grasped the concept of this segment.
I did. I find it strange.
No, good.
Nathan could stand to close a book. Close the 10 Google tabs that he has all on the
I was
various
gonna
box
do
scores.
so much more research if I could have stayed up later last night. I was gonna go through I was gonna tell you the percentage of teams that had less than 31 drives in a game. I had so many other stats that I was gonna drop on you guys, and that was riveting stuff.